Energy is produced in this organelle called the mitochondria, which is inside of our cells. So the cells of the body depend on the mitochondria to produce the energy for your body to live. And so if you can provide the nutrition like Kingdom Fuel does in a holistic manner, you give the body a better chance to experience that abundance of energy.
More than half of all women older than age 65 are widows, and widows outnumber widowers by at least 3 to 1.
Well, I think the first takeaway is it stinks to be a man. Right? It's here to die quicker.
We've got Congress that's acting like a bunch of drunken sailors, spending money like there's no tomorrow, right? The end of 2022, you had the lame duck Congress that passed a $1.7 trillion spending bill, but they don't have it. No country around the globe has money right now.
Food is what gives us energy. Today we want to talk about some healthy options to provide natural energy.
Hint, hint, it's not a candy bar. That surprised you, I would say that, right?
Now, at the top of my list would be Kingdom Fuel. Tell us a
Of
little bit
course.
about Kingdom Fuel.
Well, the thing about Kingdom Fuel is people need to understand that it's a whole meal. It's not just a protein powder. It's a whole meal. It does have 20 grams of organic pea protein, which is the least allergenic of them. That's what we selected at. Then it has a whole spectrum of phytonutrients from your green plants and red plants. So think fruits and vegetables. Then it has fiber, both soluble and insoluble. And I'm not done yet. It also has a multivitamin and mineral complex. So it really has all of that in there. And when you think about energy in the body, energy is produced in this organelle called the mitochondria, which is inside of our cells. So the cells of the body depend on the mitochondria to produce the energy for your body to live. And so if you can provide the nutrition like Kingdom Fuel does in a holistic manner, you give the body a better chance to experience that abundance of energy.
And you hit the nail on the head when you said nutrients that fuel the mitochondria.
Yeah.
We have a misconception that we need calories to make the engine run, but it's really these things called micronutrients that are your B vitamins, magnesium, coenzyme Q10, and all those little things that our powerhouse functions off of. One of my favorite energy producing foods is avocados.
Oh, yeah.
Not only is it rich in fiber, but it's also rich in good fats. And good fats are actually broken down by the mitochondria and converted into energy.
Yeah, and funny thing about today, we tend to think and it's a little bit off and almost to the point of wrong, but that calories drive energy. But calories are nothing more than estimated units of energy from the breakdown of food products, right? From the nutritional ability or potential ability. And then you think about people that think the body is designed to run off of carbohydrates primarily, and it's not. It's meant to run off of this idea of fats primarily. And so with avocado, because it's a fruit, by the way, people knew that's a fruit. See, we got an avocado right there. That's a fruit. Most beautiful fruit I think that I know of, because it has an abundance of these monounsaturated fatty acids that really can be used as good sources of energy by the body.
Well, for those of us that like to hike and like to get out in the woods and like to carry something with us, we make a trail mix with things like nuts or even pieces of cacao in them. And I like to add some goji berries to my trail mix because goji berries are very high in antioxidants. Plus, goji berries just by themselves, you can put them in your water and that antioxidant property and the components of the goji berries will diffuse into the water.
Yeah, and you mentioned nuts and seeds. That's another source of what I would consider a good energy source. Now, very important, try to get plain nuts and seeds that are not bathed and sort of roasted in these seed oils, because the hotter the oil is, I want people to think about like a big old boiling vat of grease that French fries
Oh
are dipped
my.
in. Like your
Yeah.
French fry bucket, you've seen them back there. They
Yes.
dip it in there and they flash fry them, and then you got French fries. Well, they do the same thing with nuts and seeds. They'll flash fry those in oils like that, but those hot oils are burned, and the burned oils will also create that
They're glycated.
fire, if you will, or inflammation in your own body. So plain nuts and seeds, yes. Roasted nuts and seeds, especially if they're roasted with like canola oil, peanut oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. Ixnay on those.
Yeah, that's interesting. If we want to preserve the aging process, we need to stay away from those glycated products because they cause age-glycated end products in the body. So it ages us quicker.
Okay, you
So
want to hear
there's-
something funny? This is kind of crazy. So the age-glycated end products, they bind to these receptor for these age-glycosylated end products. So we got age brings rage. How about that one, huh?
the cells
age
go-
brings rage, brings more age.
Now that's like a vicious,
Vicious.
kind of like the vicious cookie cycle. It's a
worse
vicious
than-
age
it's
cycle.
Vicious oxidative stress cycle.
There we go. When it comes to fruits, it's important to kind of pick our fruits that have a lower glycemic index
Yeah.
so it doesn't, make our sugar go really crazy. Because if we get our sugar too high and we're exercising, we could potentially drop our sugars low. So a few of the fruits that I think are prudent to choose from are like bananas, a semi-ripe banana. The more the spots on a banana, the more the sugar in the banana. So a semi-ripe banana is probably ripe for the picking, if you will.
I think so. Like something that's not quite green but doesn't have spots
Bunches.
on it. That's perfect, and that would be a good thing that would generate a good amount. It has a good amount of nutrients that would potentially generate a good amount of energy.
And apples have a low glycemic index, plus they have apple pectin in them, a very healthy form of plant fiber.
Oh yeah. What about the pineapple there?
Pineapple contains this enzyme in it called bromelain. So an athlete who's running, that's a great running or performing or doing their sport. Pineapple is great after exercise because that bromelain can help break down some of those oxidative stress markers that happen with exercise.
Well, and you can think about berries. I know people always think about those, right?
Berries, specifically, I would go for the darker berries. The darker berries have a higher antioxidant content, and those antioxidant component is what balances that redox cycle.
Yeah, and redox is the reductive and oxidative stress cycle that really the body goes through. There is a lot of information that we can give you, obviously, on food as it creates energy. The bottom line is it's nutrients that drive the processes to create energy. It's not the food that equates immediately to energy. So just kind of know that difference and select wisely. Kind of be giving you some neat tips here. And so we have a bunch more stuff we do at our clinic. And if you want to work with us, either person or distantly, we would love to have that, and we can help you fine-tune the best dietary intake to drive your nutritional properties in the way they ought to go. So reach out to us at sherwood.tv or give us a call at our clinic.
We've heard that both men and women are different.
No doubt. How different are they? Stay with us.
And when you navigate through these economies with people, here's what happens. We want to hold their hand through it, let them know when it's time to buy, sell, reallocate, get out of Dodge. Because a lot of times when you're struck with fear does two things. Number one, it can paralyze, and people just put their head in the sand and say, I'm just going to forget about it and hopefully it gets better. Or it causes you to make a wrong decision. And this is why we are here, is to help people navigate through the political quagmire nonsense that's going on, the economic malaise, and the absolute collapse that we're seeing. And when our freedoms are eroding, our political freedoms, our economic freedoms, our personal freedoms, our religious freedoms, our health freedoms, they're all tied together. But you know what doesn't need to erode with that? Our finances.
KirkElliottPhD.com/Sherwood.
Let's get real. Most emergency food is just as bad for you as any other choice in the standard American diet. And that's just sad.
We don't just need food, we need highly nutritional food.
We don't just want to survive food shortages, we are meant to thrive in adversity.
Complete your daily nutrition and have shelf-stable Kingdom Fuel as a cornerstone of your food supply.
Don't sacrifice your health or your taste buds.
Stock up on Kingdom Fuel now. The body's amazing at recovery, so you want to give it every chance, no matter what time it is. So in that context, no, it's certainly never too late. You're never too old to start trying to be healthy.
No matter where you are in terms of your health, that you can turn this around.
It's never too late to start a wellness program, and it's never too late to reach your healthcare goals. There's an old adage, and I'm not sure where it came from, but I really do like it. And they say the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
We just want people to hang on to hope.
We are hope dealers. And if you are not paying attention to the 4 foundational pillars of health, physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual, eventually it is going to catch up.
If we get all those 4 areas right, and we do it right, we see a dynamic occur in the middle called wellness, and that's where people get better. Their health is really going to return as a side effect of wellness.
Today we just want to talk a little bit about this thing called the gender gap of health. And I wanted to read this little excerpt that came from an article I was evaluating earlier this morning. It says the longevity gap is responsible for the striking demographic characteristics of older Americans. More than half of all women older than age 65 are widows, and widows outnumber widowers by at least 3 to 1. And at age 65, for every 100 American women, there are only 77 men. At age 85, the disparity is even greater, with women outnumbering men 2.6 to 1. And that longevity gap persists into very old age. Let's talk about what some of the reasons for this longevity gap are.
Well, I think the first takeaway is it stinks to be a man, right? It's you're going to die quicker. No, that's what that says. Honestly, there's a lot of differences between men and women. I mean, I look at it like this, and it's probably a different subject for a different day, but men are like waffles. You know, they're doing one thing at a time, you know, like this. I'm doing this right now. Don't bother me. I'm doing this. Women are like spaghetti. Everything connects. And it's like you touch one piece of spaghetti over here and it's going to infect it over here. That's not how men think. So we have a thinking difference. We have hormonal differences. We have chromosomal differences. And women actually do live longer than men. I think probably the overarching theme of that is it's probably by design because it requires a lady to get pregnant, right? To have babies, right? So you always have to have a supply of ladies around. So I think probably a lot of that is all those things included.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned is chromosomal, and women have 2 X chromosomes, and males only have 1.
Yep.
So in women, there is some chromosomal forgiveness because they have two of those genes, where a male is only carrying that 1 copy.
Yeah, and I suppose some of that is probably unknown at this point, you know. What is it in that double X chromosome combination that is elucidates probably more ability to heal quicker or have an immune system that deals with things better, longer? Don't know. I think there's the jury's still out on that, but obviously there's something there. I can tell you this, though, from a heart disease standpoint, I know men produce on average less of the HDL, the high density lipoprotein, and women produce more. And that in itself right there is pretty important.
And in the older generations, we saw a lot more males smoking than we saw females. However, I think we're starting to see that gender gap close as this thing called vaping is coming into play.
We are. And obviously, a lot of the data that we're looking at over time has history factored in. You know, history is a sort of study of time, and as the more that that gap goes forward and you have more time to look at, we possibly will see that gap, increase. But what we've seen too over the course of longevity over the last 100 years is we've seen the life expectancy go up exponentially. I mean, 20, 30, 40 years for each sex respectively. So it's a lot to do with it, but you're right on smoking over the course of time. It was predominantly males that were in commercials that were supporting, the selling of tobacco products.
Well, also in times gone by, it was the males that were in the workforce undergoing the majority of the stress.
Yeah.
And we know that stress can have a significant impact on health.
Well, the males I think are indeed by nature wired to protect and provide. It's what they do. So, they're going to stand in the gap, if you will. If there's a lion coming, at the family, they're going to stand in the way and be the lion snack and let their family go free. And they're also, genetically wired, I believe, to go out there and make a living, to hunt, gather, etc. And it's different, right? It's different. So there probably is a little different type of stress on the male historically.
Now we're seeing that change as more and more
Yep.
young women are raising their children on their own. And not only are they raising children and being the head of the homestead, now they're having to be the head of the workforce too. So that health gap is changing gender to gender, bringing women into those chronic health conditions that males are predisposed to as well.
Well, that's true. And what we're talking about is not a sexist thing at all. It's just the way things are culturally and the way things are today. So we're just giving you some general information based upon statistics and things that we've seen.
Well, what do you think about risky behavior, taking a life out earlier? Things like not just smoking, but males have a tendency to be more thrill seekers than females, like race car driving, skydiving, fast car racing, just being involved in taking bigger risks.
Well, I think part of that goes, and this is, again, probably a little controversial, but probably true, the male sports are disparately higher in money potential. Like male football is going to raise more money than female volleyball. Not to saying that football is more valuable than volleyball. So I think that, men are more leaning towards that area to take these physical sport risk more often in that area. I think it's probably something that's wired in them. I'm not saying women can't do it at all, and they do. I'm saying that that's just the general pattern.
I've also seen, with the health gap, male to female, women oftentimes take better care of their health in terms of nutrition than the males do. Oftentimes they're cooking the meals, they're more conscious about being a little overweight versus the males.
Well, I think that I've said this to many people in my office, and it makes sense to me as a male. The reason women take better care of themselves physically in general is because they're reminded of their health every 28 days for 40 years. They have a reminder of that. Men don't have a reminder. And so because of that, women tend to be more proactive in health. And we need to all become proactive in our health, and we need to all begin to understand the differences between men and women, because sometimes the conversation gets a little bit off, especially in couples, because we don't understand these differences. So take some of the things we've said to you today and understand the differences. The Mars-Venus concept is pretty cool, and begin to do everything you can to work together to enhance both of your lives forward-looking as a couple into the future. So we hope this helps. Come visit us at Sherwood.tv or give us a call. Up next, our financial guru, Kirk Elliott, gives us advice on what you need to know at this time in history.
How can boosting your daily nutrition save you money? I'm Dr. Michele Sherwood.
And I'm Dr. Mark Sherwood. Kingdom Fuel costs about a third of the average lunch and will supersize your nutrition.
Our unique meal shakes are balanced, low glycemic, rich in fiber with 20 grams of clean protein, essential vitamins and minerals, healthy fats, and organic fruits and vegetables.
Kingdom Fuel is a simple start to a transformed life.
Hello, I'm Kevin Sorbo. Now, there's an old saying, it's not what you know, but who you know that matters. Now, that's true in our careers, spiritual life, and when it comes to our health and overall well-being. Today, most of us know a lot of information about health and nutrition, but are we really doing anything with it? So here's what I've learned from working with doctors Michele and Mark Sherwood. They're the founders of the Functional Medical Institute. You need a wellness plan that's customized based on your unique needs. Now remember, real change can only happen when you address the whole person. That is exactly what Mark and Michele do, and why they are people you should know. They'll help you discover what you need to experience transformation. Find out at sherwood.tv/Sorbo. That's sherwood.tv/Sorbo, or just see the link below. Have a great day and God bless.
Let's shine the spotlight on one of our star supplements.
The human body can make most of the types of fats it needs from other fats or raw materials, but not omega-3 fatty acids, also called omega-3 fats or N3 fats.
These are essential fats that the body must get from food.
Biomega 1000 provides a potent dose of omega-3 essential fatty acids sourced from a strategically placed fishing facility in the far South Pacific Ocean off the coast of Chile.
Each capsule delivers an impressive 1,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA, and the capsules also contain vitamin E. See the link below for a special offer, and remember, don't be fooled by cheap online knockoffs.
Hey, Mark, great to be with you again. I wish it could be with better news, right? But yet I do have a smile on my face because there's solutions. So make sure you watch this whole video because we do have solutions for this. But what I want to talk about is the unrelenting spending happening in America right now. We've got Congress that's acting like a bunch of drunken sailors, spending money like there's no tomorrow, right? The end of 2022, you had the lame duck Congress that passed a $1.7 trillion spending bill, right? 1.7 trillion. Now, I wouldn't have such an issue with it if we actually had $1.7 trillion laying around. Then you just be allocating what you already have and, just saying where it's going to go. But they don't have it. No country around the globe has money right now, right? Because 2 years of COVID, 2 years plus of COVID, people weren't spending. There's supply chain disruptions. There's issues. There's higher taxation. Now, so what did that force countries to do? Print money like there's no tomorrow to try to inflate or die. Because if they didn't, there wasn't enough government tax revenue from sales tax revenues, property tax revenues, income tax revenues to actually fund the government. Because it's a global economic slowdown. And in fact, projections just the second week in January came out that because of all the fracturing of countries in this globalized world, right? Because of import and export controls, what Russia's doing now and telling America and the G7 nations, which are the US, the Western industrialized economies of Europe, Japan, right? It's like, hey, you guys signed the stupid accord that capped Russian oil at $60 a barrel when oil was 79. And back when he did that on December 3rd, when Biden signed that into law, it's like, if I were Putin, I wouldn't sell to those countries, right? Why would I sell them oil at a $19 barrel loss? And sure enough, December 28th, he said exactly that. He said, I'm not selling you any oil come February 1st. So what's that going to do to the price of oil? Make it go possibly double, because Russia is the largest supplier of oil and gas in the whole world. Right. And we're talking about the G7 industrialized nations. They're not chump change either. Right. So oil is going to go through the roof. If we think we've seen even the middle to the end of inflation yet, you're kidding yourselves. We haven't. So inflation is going to come. Oil prices are going to go through the roof. And I don't care if you're the biggest green proponent on the planet and you have your solar power, your wind power, and your electric Tesla, right? They all use petroleum. There's oil in the gears, right, of any machine and any windmill. There's oil in the bearings and grease of your tires in your electric car. Oil is petroleum products are used in the plastic on your dashboard in your electric car, right? So there's no getting around it. Inflation is going to be coming. And we've got a Congress that's spending money like there's no tomorrow. And like we talked about on a previous show, the potential run on the banks and the FDIC being underinsured, what would be the end result of that? The mother of all quantitative easing, probably $5 to $7 trillion on top of the $1.7 trillion that they just spent, on top of them having to raise the debt ceiling yet again, right? So we're talking about all these different spending projects that are all in the trillions. We don't have the money. So inflation is going to persist because government revenues aren't there. So therefore, they're going to have to print without discretion like there's no tomorrow, right? So how do you protect yourselves? Like we've talked, and I admit I sound like a broken record, like a one-hit wonder, right? But if there was something else that we could do to protect and preserve, I would say it. We would do it. I don't care what the asset is, as long as it minimizes our risk, maximizes our return. So your IRAs, they need to be reallocated into gold and silver. Your brokerage accounts need to be reallocated into gold and silver. Your bank account shouldn't have too much cash because the banks are at risk, right? So give our office a call. Take advantage of these trends so the trends don't take advantage of you. Get out of harm's way into gold and silver, which are growing like crazy, Mark. Crazy. I mean, we're up 98% in silver over the last 2.5 years, but the more immediate trend over the last 12 weeks, we're seeing up 40%. That's incredible. In a world where there's so much fear, there's so much uncertainty, there's so much doubt, this can put a smile on your face. So give us a call. We'd love to help you out. Mark has arranged for that to happen. We'll take good care of you. Free consultations, right? 720-605-3900. Just say Dr. Mark sent you, or simply you can go to kirkelliottphd.com/Sherwood and get on our calendars for that free consultation. We'll help you out.
Can a shake transform your life?
Well, if it helps you invest in your health on a daily basis, the answer is
Yes.
consistency is key. And there's not a better, simpler way to begin your change.
That's why we offer a bunch of helpful bonuses when you subscribe to Kingdom Fuel.
Kingdom Fuel is our complete nutritional meal shake.
It's the simple start to a transformed life.
We'll auto ship every month so you don't run out.
You'll receive 2 free shaker cups, free access to our video courses, and a monthly call with us filled with practical inspiration.
Just see the link below or on your screen and subscribe today.